Okay, welcome. This is the PHONEWORD Workshops, Bounty Program, Bounty Team, first working session on Monday, October the 27th, 2014. It's about 7:30 p.m. Arizona time, and we're going to have a 30-minute session today with the Bounty Team, and we're going to talk about basically a little bit of planning of the project, how this is going to work, what the schedule is, see if there's any schedule conflicts, answer any questions, and then tomorrow evening, Tuesday, October the 28th, 2014, at 8 p.m. Arizona time, we'll have an hour-long development session where the team will work on producing some actual results and code and development. So, all right. So, let me introduce myself, excuse me, a little bit. I'm Jay Carpenter, and I'm the founder of the PHONEWORD Workshops, and I do a little bit of coding, but I'm still basically a novice for Node.js, MeanStack, Express, Angular, and MongoDB. But the idea here for the workshops is that this is an opportunity to produce some open source development, code in a collaborative way. We're actually pioneering a way to create open source, but also we're using this as a way for developers to showcase their talents, their skill set, to companies here in Arizona initially that might be interested in engaging these developers for contract work, full or part-time employment. So this is a pilot program. We're going to be experimenting, and basically we'll conclude this a week from today, and we'll see how it goes. So first of all, Austin and Corey, I really appreciate you guys giving this a try. I've known you both for a couple years now, at least, and I respect both of you as developers, and I'm just delighted to be working with the two of you on this project. So we are going to wrap this up at 8 p.m. Arizona time. Let's start with Austin. Austin, would you like to introduce yourself a little bit? Say what your development background is, what you're interested in working on, now and in the future, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I am Austin Wright. I do JavaScript, Node.js, HTTP, content management systems, semantic web, all of that web sort of back-end goodness. Yes.
Yeah.
I do everything front to back, but I primarily like to specialize in the back-end database data management.
Right. You also are a contributor to the IETF specifications for the semantic web. Is that correct?
I shoot out emails to the various working groups from time to time.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Anything else, Austin, that you'd like to say in terms of what types of projects you like to work on? You've worked with GoDaddy in the past, and what if you had your magic wand, let's say, what would you like to be working on?
More distributed content management sort of technologies and systems. Information exchange, peer-to-peer protocols, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Well, Austin has, you've been very active in the Node AZ group, and you've delivered several presentations that I think were quite cutting edge and that were impressive in terms of, your approach to HTTP. Last Node AZ meeting, you gave a presentation on what I thought was a very innovative way to approach JSON. So I think those are a couple of things that I like about your willingness to kind of stretch the limits and experiment. So okay, Corey, what would you
Yeah.
introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Corey Kruger. I'm a JavaScript developer. Most of my work has centered on front-end design. I use a lot of AngularJS, pretty much all Angular for all of my design. And for back-end, I use Node.js almost exclusively. I'm a freelancer right now, so I'm working on several different contracts, local and long distance. And most of my work is all JavaScript. I do a little bit of NoSQL, database design with like Mongo, that sort of thing. So yeah, most of what I enjoy doing is building browser applications in Angular, RESTful APIs in Node.js with Express, and yeah. Full stack JavaScript.
Cool. And you've also done some work with what is it, 3JS? The 3D?
Yeah, that was kind of where I started in front end design. 3JS is a little bit obscure right now, but yeah, that is where I started.
Yeah, you did some cool stuff with that. So
yeah.
And you have a degree in computer science, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
All right. All right, very cool. So do you two have any questions at this point? What are your questions about the project, the timing, how this is going to work?
Well, from what you've described, you're basically wanting to put together a dialer for the browser, basically, a web application for dialing phone numbers. Is that correct?
Well,
is that the sort of the gist of it?
That's the gist of it, basically. The idea is initially to dial something that looks like a phone number, but it's actually going to be a fully qualified domain name. And there'll be a lookup that's done into a registry eventually, and if there are results that are returned, such as Facebook addresses, or excuse me, Facebook accounts, Twitter handles, web addresses, that sort of thing, then that's what will be returned. If there is no registration in the registry, then it will revert to just a basic public switch telephone network phone call. But that's way beyond what we're going to be approaching and tackling on in this project. So I'm going to do some screen share and go through an example.
Okay.
Can you see that okay?
1 second. Yep.
Okay, so it says 800 Hollywood. All right.
Yeah.
So basically, this is what I'm proposing as the look of the first step of the web-based dialer. So something that resembles like a freeway sign. And in this case, I'm using the image of 800 Hollywood, which is similar to like the 101 Hollywood freeway sign. But now you can see underneath the arrows there's an outbound select, a select connection, inbound select, and this part doesn't even have to be part of the project that we're going to be working on over the next week. I'm just trying to show you, give you a sense of where this is going and what the project basically entails eventually. So here you can see under the left arrow the plus 101 call Cindy, which is an address that's in a phrase form, middle button, select connection, and then the far right button or arrow is Cindy Carpenter choices. And then assuming that you pick the Cindy Carpenter choices, things like Facebook can pop up, or dial the office, or connect to Cindy's Twitter handle, Twitter account, or her Gmail, or let's say we want to select the Gmail. So now we've scrolled through Facebook, Twitter, dial the office, Gmail, and now that's the one we want to connect with. So we connect with that, we select that, and all of a sudden we're into an email environment. And I'm just showing you this because this is where the project is headed. This does not have to be implemented on the first cut. Now, if we go back to the 101 call Cindy, we can go back to selecting our Facebook. When I go to that, we go to Facebook. And we want to dial the office. And here we're into a video conference like a Google Hangout. So that, in the overall sense, is what this browser dialer will do. We won't go into what if there's no internet. We won't talk about the 800 option. This is basically where I'm asking you guys to build something. A simple, put in a number. So assume there's just a simple green box with a couple arrows, and a number can be added, similar to this. That's it. So if we get far enough, and I know this, or at least I have it, that this is a pretty simple task to do, or at least I think it should be pretty simple. But anyway, if just this can be accomplished, that's the scope of the project at this point, at least for the first cut. And then second cut might be, okay, the numeric's been entered, now let's convert that into a phrase, a numeric with a phrase. And then add some sort of dialer image, basically like that. So let me switch off of screen share and ask if there's any questions.
So basically what you're wanting now is basically just the visual parts of it? Is that what it sounds like?
Well, basically
the
just
visual elements.
Yeah, the visual elements, and then the ability to enter some sort of numeric. and that's it. So does that make some sense?
Is there anything that you're wanting to, like, are you wanting to do anything with that number once it's generated, or what comes next after that, or is it just the visual part of it, basically?
Just the visual, and then the simple functionality of being able to enter numbers and have them show up, display on the visual.
Okay.
And they don't have to do anything, they don't have to dial anything, but that's step number one. So I think if we can accomplish that, and we can do that, let's say tomorrow night, then we'll see, okay, what's next. So the idea is to do this in an agile fashion where we're doing it, step by step, basically. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if we get a little bit, if we can accomplish that, have something to show, then we can go on to the next step, which might be adding the different, let's say a dummy set of endpoints like Facebook, Twitter, some websites, stuff like that. But no, I'm not expecting that the audio or telephony functionality be introduced at this point. And part of what I'm asking, or part of the reason that I'm structuring it this way, instead of like laying out a bunch of specs, is because I think working in this sort of collaborative fashion where it's sort of like I'm the client and I'm asking you guys to create some things without a whole lot of specification, I think if we can accomplish that, that will demonstrate some valuable skill sets, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. And by the way, the pressure's off as far as I'm concerned in terms of what we produce or don't produce. Even if we ended up the week, and I'm sure we won't, but even if we just had a set of curly braces, that would be a work product. So,
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, Austin, do you have any comments or questions?
Sounds good.
Okay. We do have a GitHub repository because everything that's produced will be open source. It's under PHONEWORD Workshops. So let me go to that. So this is the GitHub repository where everything can be posted.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you think you could you post that in the chat? A link to that.
Yeah. Let me see. I didn't capture it. That's why. Wait a second. Okay, there's the link.
Okay.
Got it?
Got it.
Okay. Are you two clear on the schedule? Shall we talk about that a little bit?
Sure. So it's tomorrow and Thursday and where else?
Well, Saturday at 4 was what I had proposed, but Austin, you have you've got a conflict with that. Is that correct?
I have a vacation all weekend and Friday, so.
Okay. Well, why don't we see where we're at on Thursday? Might you guys be able to do a 2-hour session if necessary?
Yeah.
So
Thursday at what time?
it'll be 8 to 9. Well, let's assume that it's going to be 8 to 10.
Okay. Thursday.
Or here's what I would propose. Let's see. Austin, you're out on Friday, is that correct?
Correct.
Well, do you guys want to do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday? Break it up.
Tomorrow would be fine for me if we did an hour at, or actually, yeah, if we did 7:30 was that the time that you said?
No,
Tuesday?
8 p.m.
8 p.m. on
is
Tuesday.
what I've got proposed.
Okay, for Tuesday that would work for me. Wednesday and Thursday, I'm not sure what time I'll be done. I do have some stuff going on a little bit earlier. Wednesday earliest I'd be done would be 8:30 I'd be done. So I'd be able to do a little bit after 8:30, and then Thursday we could do like, would a 7:30 work for Thursday?
7:30 is going to be tough for. It might work.
Okay.
I'm kind of double booked on Thursday, but
Okay.
why don't we do?
Otherwise, I can do. Good.
Why don't we determine, what we do after tomorrow night or towards the end of tomorrow night, see how far we get, and then we'll, maybe do an hour and a half or something like that on Thursday, or do something on Wednesday. Does that work for you, Austin?
Okay.
Yeah, most any time later in the day after like 4 afternoon at least.
Okay. Cool. Okay. So I would prefer that we confine the time spent on this to the time when we're on the Google Hangouts, and that there's not a lot, if any, work that's done in between. And it's also okay if, we come across something else that's out there that doesn't have to be written from scratch. So it's okay to incorporate, if there's another dialer out there that will fill the bill, then it's fine to use that as long as it's open source. Everything has to be open source. So, any questions?
I think that kind of covers it for me.
Okay. Austin?
Sounds good.
Okay. Well, I think we can wrap it up then, and reconvene tomorrow night at 8 p.m. for an hour-long session.
Cool.
Okay? Awesome.
Alrighty.
If you guys have any questions, give me a call or shoot me an email, and we'll go from there.
Okay.
Okay?
Thanks,
Have a
Jay.
good night. Have a good night.
You too.
Bye.